Welcome, everyone, and thanks for joining us for Modernizing Analytics Cut Maintenance with Dodeca Cloud. My name is Tim Faitsch, Director of Technical Solutions at Applied OLAP. Um, Many organizations today are still heavily reliant on spreadsheets for reporting because they're flexible and familiar. But that often comes with real challenges around maintenance, governance, and scalability. Today, we're going to explore how we can keep the benefits of spreadsheets while dramatically reducing the overhead behind them. I'm joined by Tim Toe, who's the founder and president of Applied OLAP, and Joe Malewicki, founder, CEO of iArch Solutions. And together, we're going to walk through what Dodeca Cloud and Dodeca Cloud Complete are, how they work, and what they enable. So, welcome, guys. Uh,
How you
let's
doing? Thanks,
let's
Tim.
uh, let's get this started here. So, what's the biggest problem you guys see with spreadsheet-based reporting today, and why do organizations continue to rely so heavily on spreadsheets? Tim, you can go ahead.
I'll take that one. Yeah. So every company uses spreadsheets today, despite the predictions of their death many times. I remember when I started this company in 1998, I was told I was stupid for starting a spreadsheet company because everybody would use the web within 2 years. We're hearing the same thing now with AI. In fact, recently I heard someone say that we should never use spreadsheets again for we should use Python with AI instead. And I can't imagine accountants in there writing Python scripts to update some numbers in a spreadsheet. So I think it's a little over exaggerated. The problems with spreadsheet usage is how people use them. It's they become shadow IT systems really. So when you have these shadow IT systems, there's really no standardization at all. And IT systems generally get some type of testing. There's a dev and there's staging and a production area, that type of thing, right? There's spreadsheet-based IT or shadow IT, there's really none of that. Everything is, in other words, it's development, right? You're always in dev. And so everything is ad hoc and it's really difficult to control that. Spreadsheets proliferate. I mean, people copy spreadsheets month after month. They reuse the same file month after month. They keep adding things, right? Tim, you and I have seen this countless times where spreadsheets are getting larger and larger all the time. And when we took a look, under the covers, you and I spent some time doing that, right? And we found there's a lot
Sure.
of junk there. I mean, there's, range names that are abandoned. There's pound ref range names. There's the worst one is actually spreadsheet links. So spreadsheet links actually proliferate in files. When you add a link, generally it doesn't go away. Now, recently in Excel, they've added some things where you can clean them up. There wasn't even a way to clean them up previously. I've seen a workbook that had literally 961 Excel links in it to other workbooks. Some of those links were dating back to the 1990s. I saw this in the last year. So it's really bad, right? What that leads to is, a lot of productivity issues, there's errors and that kind of stuff. In essence, your spreadsheets are I kind of think of it as they're getting rusty, right? So if you look at a junkyard, that's kind of what shared drives end up being. They're kind of a junkyard with all these rusty spreadsheets in
Yeah.
there. What we're trying to do is make those better. So, and additionally, they rely on spreadsheets because corporate systems don't do what they need them to do. That's the bottom line, right? So people spend money, tons of money on corporate systems, and in the end, it's like, well, we needed something a little bit different than this. We're going to use a spreadsheet, and that's what people have. So, it's really necessity is the mother of invention, right? So that's what
Yeah,
I would say. Why spreadsheets continue to be used so heavily in organizations today.
absolutely. So let's talk about what we've introduced to address this. So,
Yeah.
Joe, at a high level, what is Dodeca Cloud?
Yeah, thanks, Tim. And thanks, Tim, also double Tim's here. And thanks everyone for joining us this afternoon or this morning. So at a high level, at its simplest level, Dodeca Cloud, it's a fully managed reporting, planning, and analysis platform. And we're delivering that on Oracle's cloud infrastructure, state of the art. What that really means in plain English, right, if you're not an IT person like myself, is it brings structure and confidence to Excel reporting that's already running your finance teams, Tim, right? So without asking anyone to actually, as Tim mentioned a minute ago, leave Excel. We don't want you leaving Excel. It's what you know and love. So here's how it works at a high level in practice, and we'll dig deeper into this later on in the session today. Each customer gets their own dedicated, isolated environment for Dodeca. We run the whole thing end to end, compute, storage, patching, upgrades, all the bells and whistles behind the scenes for that. And the customer's IT team doesn't need to actually worry about maintaining that infrastructure for their end users in finance. It connects to the systems that customers are already using, your ERP systems, EPM, on-prem or cloud-based, data warehouses, and so on. So whatever you're running today, the data finance is already using reporting on, it's the real data the business is running on. It's not a copy, it's not an extract, it's the actual source data system. So if I had to boil it down, Tim, it comes down to three things. It's a governed, automated, managed system, and that is our cloud solution.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, no problem.
Tim, how does Dodeca Cloud Complete build on that idea?
Well, Dodeca Cloud Complete takes everything that's in the Dodeca Cloud product and adds into it Essbase. So there's a lot of companies out there that either don't have an analytic engine or they don't want to manage something like Essbase anymore. So Dodeca Cloud Complete gives them the ability to get one package that has all of that Dodeca and Essbase in the same package.
Okay,
I
very
can
cool.
toss one thing on there actually, Tim,
Sure.
to it that. The cool part is the complete part, as Tim just mentioned, it includes S-based analytics, but it's not just from delivery. It means you're actually getting the actual full license and availability and product of S-base under the hood without having to worry about contractually being obligated to Oracle or somebody else for this. So it is that kind of pre-built P&L model, ready to rock and roll analytic engine for you. So
Yeah, it's
Very
kind of funny.
nice.
We've heard over the years, we've had a number of customers that said, we love Essbase, we don't want to deal with Oracle. So that is a thing sometimes, right?
yep, yep,
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, so we take on that piece of it as well.
yeah.
Okay. Very
Cool.
cool.
Right.
Okay. So who is this really best suited for, Joe?
Well, okay, actually, anybody. No, I'm kidding. No. So, I mean, in reality, it's true. It can be mid-market to full-blown enterprise corporate finance organizations. That's the key, the finance organization, right? Whether you're 300 million, multi-billion in revenue, our sweet spot, it's the team function. It's not necessarily the company size, right? Our ideal customer, if you will, or ideal use case, it's companies that are multi-entity, multi-location, possibly. The big thing here, it's heavy Excel-based reporting, right? That's the catch thing right now. Okay, kind of keep coming back to the magic Excel word here. Normally, you got 25 or more people contributing to your monthly close process. That's kind of our sweet spot, right? It's a great solution for you to consider. And as far as industries, Tim, we span every industry and vertical, but the key then is looking at those finance intensive systems with multiple entities rolling up. That's a great kind of a
Sure.
sweet spot for us.
Yeah,
Cool. Anything to
agreed.
add on to that, Tim?
I don't really have anything to add. I mean, Joe did a great job on that. So
All
Yeah,
right.
well, that's
yeah.
that's one down. There you go. I like it.
Awesome. Well, Tim, what prompted you to introduce these offerings now?
Well, we have a lot of companies who, they've installed Dodeca on premise, right, or on their own clouds. But we have encountered a number of companies who don't want to have to deal with, putting something on their own cloud or putting something in on-prem. So, we wanted to be able to provide something for those types of customers who want to have it all out of the box, all ready to go. So that's why, we came up with Dodeca Cloud. So it's just another way to consume the product. The product, by the way, under the covers, Dodeca itself, whether it's on-prem or in the cloud, it's the same product. It's just being
Sure.
delivered in a different way.
Okay.
Yep,
Cool.
absolutely. Great.
All right, let's make this a little bit more concrete for our audience today. So, Joe, what does this actually look like in practice?
All right, so let me try to paint a visual virtual picture here, right?
Okay.
Okay, so from the customer side, what it actually looks like in a day-to-day operation, right? So you're a customer, you have a solution already put in place and you're happy as a peach, right? So you jump in your morning, you log on to a secure connection over web browsers, okay, into your actually owned dedicated environments, right, which are located in the Oracle Cloud's infrastructure. Your finance teams, you open up Excel or the Dodeca client, then are working within governed templates that pull in the live data, as I mentioned earlier. And this data, again, can come from tons of different data sources, Oracle EPM Cloud, Hyperion On-Prem, Essbase, ERP, data warehouses, and so on. Here's the important part. Those templates that you're opening up and working with, they're centrally managed. So everybody's working off the same source of truth. Role-based access controls, who sees it, who can't see it. Every single report runs and gets logged for audit, and we'll talk more about security in a bit. And behind the scenes, what we're doing with the solution is we are running the infrastructure. We're taking care of the behind the scenes stuff you don't need to worry about day to day. again, patching, upgrading, monitoring, performance tuning, adjusting as need be. That's really the kind of the goal. So what does it actually look like? It looks like spreadsheets that are working. Okay. It's numbers you can work with, and it's a closed cycle. Hopefully it closes on time or ahead of time. And that's the everyday reality.
Very nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, Tim, can you walk us through a representative use case for what this was designed for?
Sure, sure. So let's take an example. So let's say you have a company who, the CFO is getting delays getting their spreadsheet reports. And then when they get them, every report looks different, right? We've all seen this. I mean, every
Sure.
company we go to before Dodeca, that's the situation, right? They lose confidence in the numbers because everything's different. They aren't confident people are pulling data from the same data sources, that they're reconciling these things. They need help fast. That's what this solution is made for. That's what Dodeca in general is made for. Dodeca Cloud makes it even faster to deliver. So
Okay,
and get into your company very quickly.
cool.
Right?
So, one of the big promises here is reducing maintenance, it sounds like. Joe, how exactly does Dodeca Cloud reduce maintenance compared to traditional approaches?
I love this one because being in IT, this is I've built my whole career on this exact concept, maintenance, right? So, okay, this is the big one for me anyway. This is where the managed services model that we built into this solution really kind of earns its keep, right? So, breaking it into sort of three categories that we see on a regular basis, what we consider maintenance, that traditionally eat up a lot of your IT time. And when IT time is eaten up, that translates into finance time being typically burdened some way, shape, or form. So the first is the actual infrastructure maintenance itself. Traditional on-premise setup, your IT team, they're going to have, if it's an on-prem data center, they're going to be managing their servers, managing the storage, managing the network connectivity, operating system, patching and maintenance, all those lovely Microsoft or Linux security problems. Your business continuity, backup, and disaster recovery. With our cloud-based solution, all of that's in OCI, and we're handling that maintenance through an actual predetermined cycle and process. The customer
Sure.
doesn't have to see it, period. Second, you have the application maintenance, right? This comes into your software tier, your software stack. Once again, if you choose to deploy the solution on premise, you can get these same tools if you like. You can license Essbase, you can license your ERP, NetSuite, so on, or even Deca for that matter. But those software versions, that now comes onto your plate to handle and maintain that stuff, okay? That means weekend windows, outages, coordinations, all that fun stuff, right? So with the cloud solution we're deploying here, again, we're handling all of those aspects, again, on a managed schedule for you offline. So you don't have to worry about handling those tasks. And finally, this is one people underestimate, in my opinion, Tim. It's the spreadsheet maintenance aspect of things, right? Folks that are new to this Dodeca solution world, if you will, might not understand this. And those of you who used it before are probably swearing by and love it to death. That's the gold.
No,
That's the
I mean,
goal.
I can handle that piece. I mean, because I
Yeah.
was
Yeah,
listening to
Tim,
them
you you
thinking,
you can
Yeah.
you can take that one over.
yeah,
Yep.
I'm thinking Joe.
What do you have
That's
on
your
that?
baby, Tim. That's your baby.
Yeah,
Yep.
Joe's showing like he's talking about he's the IT guy. He's got the IT hat on, right? Now let me step back. I'm the
Yep.
finance kind of guy, putting the finance hat on. Let's talk about maintenance from the spreadsheet part because that's actually generally more, by the way, probably than the maintenance on the server side. So for us
That's
finance
it.
people, it may be harder on the IT side. It may seem harder, right? There's a lot of stuff that happens that we just do naturally every day in Excel. That's those kind of things. So we really designed this product to reduce maintenance, to promote reuse of spreadsheets and that type of thing. We had one of our customers had PwC come in and do a study. They found they were spending 27,000 hours per year just
Wow.
maintaining and running reports, right? That's a lot, right? So they brought in Dodeca. Once they did that, they were able to optimize all that. They do a lot of reuse, a heavy amount of standardization, right? So what they found in the end is they saved about 60, they're saving about 1,600 man days per quarter. I mean, that's some absurd amount, right?
Massive.
They say that 70 to 80% of that is in report maintenance. The remainder is
Wow.
in the reduced time to actually run the reports. So it's a pretty good example of reducing maintenance.
Very
That's a big
cool.
one.
So, how does the Dodeca Cloud improve governance, Tim?
Ooh, I love this one.
I'll take it from the finance side to
Yeah.
start.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
what Dodeca does versus what people typically do with spreadsheets is we centralize, we manage the spreadsheet operations. That's really what it is. There's really three big things that we do. We standardize spreadsheets, right? We automate spreadsheets. We integrate with the data sources. We do that automatically. So that's kind of the whole system is built around that type of thing. As a result of all those three things, what happens is reports build the same way every time because of the automation. They look the same. People know where to look in the right places. The data is pulled from the sources, in a very standardized, repeatable way. In the end, what happens is CFOs look at their numbers and they go, "Oh, I can depend on these." We've actually had stories from customers where they were looking at Dodeca reports and non-Dodeca reports, and literally the standard spreadsheets report to somebody who thought they were really good at Excel produced had numbers that were wrong, right? And they were very embarrassed in front of their CFO. So, that confidence that the CFOs get is really a big thing.
Yeah. If I could tack into one thing which I think
Yeah,
is really
please.
cool about this software stack solution, forgetting the cool IT guys behind the scenes, right? But the actual product like itself, it's the audit abilities, right? The ability that, more and more auditors are asking harder questions about spreadsheet controls. They want to know, yeah, you have 10,000 spreadsheets, who maintains them, how they maintain, who's using which one. So having the technology and the product solution where you can see who's run their spreadsheet, who's modified it, who's, again, you're preparing yourself for the hope not, God forbid, audit abilities. You're preparing yourself to handle those questions a lot quicker than you would if you had to go back afterwards and start scratching heads like Tim mentioned a few minutes ago, that larger customer.
Yeah, that's a great point, Joe. One of our customers at a presentation a couple of years ago, and it was Principal Financial. They talked about how many reports they have in Dodeca. They have 3,000 reports, right? And they know that they run them 170,000 times per month. They know who
Wow.
runs them. They know when they run them. They know if there's a failure. If there's a failure, the error is logged. All that audit ability right there is really important. And the other piece of that, by the way, is that they were going through a digital transformation. So they're moving from SBase and they're moving their
Oof.
GLs and that type of thing. So the global SI that was doing the implementation, they stood up in the bag, said, when we do digital transformations, typically we have to get our hands around the GL systems and we have to get our hands around payroll systems and supply chain systems and then there's spreadsheets. There's all this stuff with spreadsheets and that's a big unknown, right? The difference in principle was they knew exactly what they had. They had 3,000 spreadsheet reports, run 170,000 times a month. They knew who to go to talk to get that information, how to streamline that. And that company, by the way, they moved from SBase onto EPM Cloud with 3,000 reports and moved all those over to EPM Cloud and freeform.
Wow.
So just recently.
They
Yeah.
probably didn't have one spreadsheet tracking at all, I'm guessing.
They didn't have one what?
And they
Spreadsheet.
probably didn't have a single spreadsheet tracking all the spreadsheets. So yeah, it's good. Yeah.
I think that really speaks to the business impact that organizations can expect. Are there anything else you want to add there?
Well, I think the time savings is a huge thing. I mean, we've had customers who built cost saving systems using Dodeca. There was one at Kroger. They told us to save a couple $100 million. I mean, it was really unique. I actually was in a Kroger store recently, and I was talking to the person in the florist department, and they were aware of that program, by the way. It was called
Wow.
Achieving Best Store Expense. And they're like, "Oh yeah, we remember that." I'm like, yeah, it was
Yeah, that was me.
powered by Dodeca, right? So this winter I met a user of Dodeca on a chairlift, by the way, in Colorado. He used to be a manager. He actually was a manager at the pharmacy at the local Kroger there, so City Market in Breckenridge. So it's like
Great.
interesting what
Small
you see.
world. Very
So
cool.
there's a lot of benefits that people see. I mean, getting back a big return on the investments they put in their data too. So I mean, companies have all kinds of data sources, right? They're investing in EPM Cloud, they're in Oracle ERP, they've got ADW, AI Lakehouse, they've got Snowflake, they've got Redshift on
Sure.
AWS, they've got Synapse on Azure and Fabric and all those types of things. Getting the most bang out of the buck for that uh, is really a big thing. Dodeca helps with that. I mean, some of those systems, by the way, they're big, nice systems that have sources for AI, and that's coming in as the future comes. There'll be more of that.
Mhm.
We're helping to get more bang on the buck when you get that data into a spreadsheet to present it to somebody, right?
Cool. All right.
That's great.
Let's talk about how this fits into the broader landscape. How is Dodeca Cloud different from other approaches that we see?
So by other approaches, I'm interpreting you mean other products, right? So
Of
like
course.
SmartView. So we see SmartView in the world all the time. And SmartView is
But
a
sometimes
great
not
product.
product, sometimes it's just
Well,
cobbled together.
there's process that goes along with product, right? That's what
Sure.
it is. I mean, sometimes there's not SmartView, sometimes there's just people doing linked workbooks in Excel. I've
Yeah.
seen that. The first company we ever worked with in this company, I started this company 28 years ago. They did a budgeting system where they had 2,800 linked workbooks. No, sorry, it was 1,200 linked workbooks. So
Wow.
whenever a link broke, it was a
Oof.
big project to find out where the link was bad, right? That company had S-Base, by the way. So we actually wrote something in S-Base. It was like this just somebody waiting. They were just waiting for a solution to come along to fit what they actually could use. But so we see in the SmartView world, though, we do see a lot of bad practices too. So, we see these files getting bloated with things and file links and all that kind of stuff. We see that the way that report design happens as well is not optimized. I mean, we have a tremendous amount of experience with how people put reports together and forms and that type of thing, right, together in
Sure.
Excel. Based on how we do things, we can make the maintenance significantly less and actually reuse spreadsheets over and over. I mean, we've seen some tremendous gains there. There are
Mhm.
other products out in the market too, by the way. So, I mean, Dodeca does a lot, right? It standardizes it, automates it, integrates. There's a new product we've seen, Data Rails, right? Data Rails, it's all over my feed on Facebook these days, and I see it on LinkedIn all the time. They're all about getting data automated into a workbook. It does nothing about the standardization. It does nothing to improve the processes that you have, other than it
Yeah.
just automates bringing data in, right?
Sure.
So
Yep.
if you're bringing data into a bad spreadsheet, you're making the bad spreadsheets faster, essentially. So you do more bad things quicker. So
Yeah, I agree.
yeah,
Joe, how does Dodeca Cloud fit in with existing systems that customers might have?
Yeah, it's a tough one, Tim. No, I'm kidding here. No. So the answer is really the short answer is it's designed to fit in, not replace. Right. And that's sort of the whole premise here. And that's a really important to understand concept here, right? Today it connects the systems you already have, your
Mhm.
ERPs, Oracle Fusion, eBiz Suite, NetSuite, so on, right? Your planning on-premise systems, your Oracle EPM stack, data warehouses, and so on, REST APIs. So if there's a supported connector or an API that we have today, it can pull in from it and read and write back to it. And if there's something we don't have today, ask because chances are it's already being developed, more than likely from my experiences. So for the Cloud Complete package, specifically, as I mentioned before, right, we're including that S-based managed instance for you as part of that process. And what we kind of call a pre-built financial data model. It's a P&L model or a starter app, so to speak. So customers don't actually have an analytic engine today or want to retire an existing one or don't want to move to a different vendor, right? You can still get that. We're kind of providing that tool with them under the hood. It becomes a turnkey analytic foundation, right? For you to plug your information right into. But the big point's this, Tim, back to your point, this is not a rip things out situation or product. This is an additional component. It's a
yeah.
tool that lets you get more out of what you already have today.
That's how we designed this product. Actually, we started off, sitting in front of S-Base, right? So added on to S-Base, and
Yeah.
then Hyperion Planning came along, and we set beside Hyperion Planning, and then Cloud EPM, and we've implemented functionality for Cloud EPM now, and I think it gives people the flexibility they need, a bit of a better user experience than what you'd see. It's much easier to use. I mean, I mentioned earlier the people that I met out in the field. It was a florist department manager at Kroger can use these analytic tools. That's not something you would typically
A
train
little bit
somebody
too
with
easy to use,
SmartView,
maybe.
right?
I don't know.
You wouldn't train them with SmartView or even with most things in EPM Cloud, right?
Sure.
Um,
Yeah.
that's really been a trademark of us for years is getting that out into sitting beside other systems and improving the operations of other systems and then getting confidence for the results that come back. So that's
Mhm.
kind of what we do. We've been doing it
All right.
forever, right?
Joe, how does the platform scale as the usage grows?
That's a great question. It's probably the easiest question we've gotten today, Tim. Thanks, man. So scaling is actually really straightforward because it's a managed service, and that's the intention by design. Okay, clients come in, they get their user packs. You need more users, you contact us, you get more users, right? You don't worry about the performance behind the scenes, what has to happen to the hardware, the infrastructure. We take care of that all for you. Again, sort of offline. You have to worry about those aspects. However, it's not the same as say, and I'm not going to badmouth, a certain company named Oracle here, but EPM Cloud, when you add more users, you don't have any visibility into, do I have enough capacity behind the scenes? We tell you what you're getting up front with the base, and then we grow that as need be to support your capacity. And
Okay.
one quick point here I want to make out. We're an IT shop, iArch Solutions, right? What some of you may or not know. We work with all the hypervisors, AWS, Amazon, Azure, GCP, the whole nine yards. We chose OCI specifically because Oracle workloads, yes, do run better than OCI, but because it does have the best performance ratio value for customers. And they're a much more mature enterprise-based cloud solutions, cloud enterprise solution for customers. So,
Okay.
yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
So for a lot of teams, IT impact and risk are key considerations. So what does the IT burden look like with Dodeca Cloud, Joe?
Near zero. And I say near zero because there's never zero, right? Let's be honest here, okay?
Sure.
But it's by design again. The whole point of this solution was to easier deployment process for the business, okay? We want IT team to focus on what they have to focus on internally, okay? Stop thinking about infrastructure for a particular financial application or service. So what we're handling here inside the tenancy, as I mentioned before, it's all the underlying components, the compute, memory, storage, networking, but even autonomous database requirements, the S-based instance, if that's selected or not. So we're handling all those pieces end to end. Okay. So what is the reality? What does the customer's IT team have to get involved with? Well, the initial onboarding process, we're going to have a conversation with you, want it or not. And I love finance folks. I'm sorry, we're still going to ask for some IT representation in this process here because we want to understand your security requirements so we can connect our infrastructure and our networks to your network. Okay, that's the VPN
Sure.
configuration, if you will. Once that's done, to be very straight and honest, that's about it.
Okay.
Unless things change, IT doesn't have to worry about this process at all. No capacity planning, no budgeting for new hardware, no late Friday night patches, blaming the finance people anymore, for outages. When things don't work, and they always work, you call us and we handle that for you.
Can you add a little about how security is handled in the system?
Oh yeah, I love security question. We can go on. We got an hour to go still. Okay, yeah,
Not
yeah. So security is my favorite topic.
quite.
Yep, super, super, super important topic. This solution truly is built from the ground up with security in mind. From the OCI infrastructure, which is net zero security, fully SOC compliant, ISO compliant, every certification you want. Um, all data at rest, which means not moving, it's encrypted. All data in transit, which means it's moving, is encrypted. So from that perspective, no questions asked. You're totally secure. Full auditing with an OCI, we mentioned a couple of times already. Dodeca's own auditing process as well on the application side. That's all part of that whole foundation, if you will. Okay. And security is super important to us. This isn't a SaaS solution in the sense that you're sharing one set of infrastructure and databases with other people or tenants. You are isolated to your own world, your own tenancy. Okay, is how we're doing this today. So
Sure.
whatever's in your group cannot be seen by anybody else, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So really, we're taking your ungoverned Excel environment and we're trying to best of breed, best practice, secure the crap out of this thing from the access in the front to the back end storage for you. So
Okay. Awesome.
Yep.
So how
And
quickly can a new customer get up and running with this solution?
yeah,
yeah, you want to go ahead,
just
Tim.
let me comment a little bit on the security as well. So
Oh
from the
yeah,
authorization
All right.
side,
All right.
then
yeah,
I'll
yeah, yeah.
continue on this. So on the authorization side, we do support OAuth and SAML and all those types of things. Entra, authentication, all that type of stuff is supported in Dodeca just to get into the application as well. So that
Hmm.
combines with what you have in the back end. So it's a nice secure system. So
Yeah.
how can which question was it? How quickly can a new customer get up and running?
Yeah. So what's it take to move forward if someone's interested in this solution?
So
Just pull the
that's kind
credit
of
card out and
Joe's
charge
end,
for it.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, just give us a credit card. You're covered. No, I'm kidding. No, so this is a quick one, right? But
Yeah,
basically, this is, I think it's one of our biggest differentiators with this whole solution. And when Tim and I first talked about this, geez, maybe a year or so ago, not even at this point, I love the idea. I love the whole idea behind this whole concept too. The biggest differentiator really it's time to value because we're not reinventing the wheel for you. We're just giving you the new tool to put on top of what you already have today for your systems. The
Sure.
deployment process logistics, super quick. You're talking weeks, not quarters. Okay. Definitely. Whereas an actual EPM system or a new reporting tool or new management tool is typically 6 months to 18 months from our experiences. Okay. So the reality is, you could be productive, if you will, with your first reports, I'd say within a 30-day cycle. And that includes from contract signing until users are trained with the system. At least my experience and my gut says that.
Okay.
I don't know, you need to add to that
And
if you
and
want, or yeah.
Tim, maybe you can give us an idea of what it looks like for either an existing Dodeca customer to move to this solution or an existing spreadsheet-based kind of customer moving to Dodeca Cloud.
sure. So first, let's start with the existing Dodeca customer. So that one's really easy. So I mentioned earlier, the product that you're actually seeing at the desktop and the product actually runs on the server is the same as our on-premises. We're just delivering it in a different way for Dodeca Cloud. So all the
Mhm.
things that you've configured in Dodeca, all the logs that have been created even, it's a very easy and trivial process to have those exported and brought into the new system. So that's an easy thing. So it could be a matter of hours you could be up and running. If you have a spreadsheet solution that's not currently in Dodeca, then you can probably get it up pretty quickly. Um, you know, I think the way you do that is we want to analyze what you have, take our experience that we've seen, our best practice that we implement, add some standardization and automation, integrate, the data sources, and you'll be up and running pretty quickly. We actually did that earlier this week with a customer who put in their first report this week. So it was a pretty quick. I think we were on the phone for an hour and they had something running, right?
Yep.
They had
Yep.
their existing,
That's amazing.
yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. Awesome. So let's start wrapping things up. I wanted
Yeah.
to ask you guys if an organization doesn't modernize and they stay with their current approach, what kind of things are they risking? What do you think about that, Joe?
So yeah, so this is an interesting one, Tim. So the risk I personally see most often, it's slow motion. And what I mean by that, it's not something catastrophic happens on day one, right? It's the gap between what finance needs and what ungoverned, if you want to call it Excel, can deliver today and is being used today. It just keeps widening that gap. One quarter person leaves the company attrition, next quarter, ought to find something. Next quarter after that number in the board's deck is wrong in a presentation. Oops. By the time leadership figures all this out and acts on it, you're talking about the cost of waiting a lot longer, a lot more than it could have been upfront, right? So the cost of modernizing would have been, really 18 months earlier. And that's a pattern I see all the time. The other risk I see quite often, this is quieter, in my opinion. It's not the right in your face. It's opportunity cost that you're missing out
Yeah,
on. Every hour, or as Tim mentioned, these crazy stats, which still blows my mind hearing those stats, right? Every hour your finance teams are spending reconciling and using their spreadsheets. That's an hour they're not spending on doing analysis, which is what they're really being paid for, you'd hope, anyway, right?
absolutely.
On the work that actually moves the company forward. That cost, that compounds dramatically, and it's a quiet one. And that one, and one day you look up and you're like, holy cow. That's kind of my
Yeah.
spin on, yeah.
It's interesting because some people may take a look at it and say, well, opportunity cost, that time is being taken up by IA, not IA, not
Yeah,
AI, IA,
that
internal
too.
auditors, right? Internal auditors who IA, right? AI. But
Yeah.
the thing about AI is, AI requires context. So think about any AI query you put in. The better query you give it, the better results you get back, right? You put in garbage, you get back garbage, right? Dodeca is all about context. So the idea that you have a report that's standardized, is automated, it's the right numbers, right? They're coming together maybe from different locations, and that's feeding into AI, along with other context that you can put in with Dodeca that feed into the AI, right? Under the covers, it can save you a lot of time and standardize what those processes going in and the results coming back from the AI are to make your AI better as well. So I
Sure.
think
Mhm.
that's a thing that we need to probably stay up to date with. So AI is moving so fast right now. Our developers are pedaling at high speed Our customers are pedaling at higher speed, demanding things, by the way. Some of the things,
Sure.
literally a year ago, I looked at them and I said, you're kidding me, right? You're joking. That's what I actually thought. But now the things that we're seeing with AI and how we're integrating AI, it's just spawning more and more ideas of how we can optimize things. So
Cool. So for organizations that are interested in moving forward, Tim, what are the next steps here?
reach out to us and let's have a conversation. I mean, we have this expertise in spreadsheets. I've seen thousands of them over the years, I swear. Let's talk about how we can make things better. So, maybe you've got the perfect company and we can't make things better. We'll have a short conversation. We'll decide that. Right? We can decide
No coffee.
that doesn't happen much, though. Believe me. I mean, some of the things we see, we go, "Oh my God!" I mean, literally, there's some things that I was on a call not too long ago, and the person's like, "Let me show you a spreadsheet." And it's like it took 5 minutes to open, and they couldn't change tabs because it took minutes to change a tab. I'm like,
Yeah,
how do you do this every day? So call us. We do this for a living. We make your life better. Come on, I've
absolutely.
dedicated my life to spreadsheets. Let me help you now.
I like that. Make your life better. That's what we do. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, guys. That's a great discussion. Thanks for joining me
Uh,
today. I'm gonna
it's
just share a
fantastic.
couple slides here real quick.
Yeah.
So hopefully you guys can see that. So if you wanted to reach out to us, we're going to reach out to everyone, all the attendees. Thank you for joining us today. We're going to be sending you out a data sheet with more information, so you'll have that. If you want to reach out to us, feel free to send an email, dodeca@appliedolap.com. Also, I'd like to encourage everyone to join us in Denver this summer for Kscope
Yes.
26. I know you'll be there, Joe and Tim.
Yes.
We're going to be holding our Dodeca Symposium on Sunday from 10:30 to 5. And our customer panel will be on Tuesday from 1:40 to 2:30. So I'm very excited. There's a QR code here, so you can go ahead and register for that. And you can use VAPP26 to save $100 on your registration. So thanks again to Tim and Joe, and have a great day, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. This is fantastic.
Thanks,
Have a wonderful
everyone.